Hello students, today's agenda is to check homework. We're going to be learning about the second part of rigid transformation, and this is part of the last video, which is to sketch rigid transformations on a grid, but we're going to be specifically cover rotation, okay? And so when I ask students what things rotate in real life, they came up with things like, oh, the planets around the sun, the hands on a clock, also in flooring, like the tiles, you can see some rotations in there. And so this is a little bit more tricky to explain, and that's why I wanted to do it in a video separate from the other two transformations. And so what I'm gonna explain first is what is a rotation. And so basically what it means is that you're gonna be moving, for example, if I have this shape in here, rotating means that basically it's like taking the figure and moving it certain degrees. And what we're going to be working is the 90 degree, 180 degrees, and 270 degrees. And so by this time, I hope that you know that a circle, or when you go around from beginning to end, it's 360. Halfway is 180. And then like if you go only like 1/4 of the coordinate plane, then that's 90 degrees. Okay, so if this figure starts in here and then it moves in here, then that's 90 degrees. If it moves from here halfway the circle, then that's 180 degrees. And then 3/4, that's 270 degrees. Okay, so another thing that you need to know is that if we're talking about positive degrees, so for example positive 90 or negative 90, it's two different directions. So when it's positive, let's say 90 degrees, that means that you're gonna go counter clockwise. Okay, and if the degrees are negative, then you're gonna go clockwise. Okay, so those are important points. So I'm gonna do one, and so that I don't know if I to do the summary first or just okay. Let's do the first example, and then we'll go with it. So it says rotate the following figure about the given point right here by 90 degrees. 90 degrees, it just means, how does a 90 degree look like? A perfect corner, okay? Just like the right angle. And so the first thing that you're gonna do is to draw your axis along this point. So this is gonna be Y. That's the first thing that you wanna do. And so I tried to explain it in several different ways last night in class. But I think I'm gonna go with the coordinates for some reason. So I'm gonna look for the coordinate right now, which is -1, +1, -1, +1. That's my first point, and I'm gonna write it in here because it's 90 degrees. I'm gonna write it in here like this, and I'm gonna show you why in a minute. The next point is -4, +1, -4, +1. The next point is +2, negative 5, positive 2, negative 5. So 1, 2, and then going down is negative. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I'm gonna write it here. So positive 2, negative 5. The other point is to get here I need to travel 2 on x, so positive 2, and down 2, so negative 2. So positive 2, negative 2. So positive 2, negative 2. Okay, so the positive 2, negative 2. And so those are my 4 points, right, for the original figure. So I found an easier way to explain it, and so hopefully this if you know how to graph points, then it should be super easy. When we're talking about 90 degrees, and this is how I explain it actually. Let's pretend that you have a flower in here. Okay, this is my original. And actually, if I leave it as my original, that's going to be 0 degrees. 0 degrees is, the figure is where it is, and that's where it is, okay? What I said is that if you're moving your figure 90 degrees, it means that your picture is going to go 90 degrees. So it's going to move kind of like that. Let me show you with a transparency here. So this is my flower. I know this is going to be a lot of explaining and it's like, what? But once you get this part, I think it's going to be easier to understand it, because I explained it in different ways and it seems that students were having trouble. So 90 degrees, it just means move this part, which is the floor or the soil where my flower is, move it 90 degrees. 90 degrees means that you're going to move it like that, right? That's 90 degrees. And so for 90 degrees, where will my plant end? Oh, it's going to be over here. So my x-axis, and I'm talking about the positive, x-axis ends up being right here, correct? You might be like, what? What's she saying? Again, this is my flower. Move it 90 degrees. Now this is the floor. Now that floor becomes this. Okay? So when I'm graphing these points, and it says 90 degrees, that means that I'm going to take this as if this is my x-axis and forget about the rest of it. Forget about this x, forget about this y, forget about this figure. Okay. What about if it's... Oh, sorry, I forgot to draw the beautiful flower. So now my figure is going to look something like this. Okay. Notice also how the whole figure moves. So if it's apart from here, it's going to be apart from here too. Okay. For 180, well, I have this right here. I move it 90 degrees, and then 90 plus 90 is 180, so that's that. So my x is this section now, okay? And so my flower or new figure is gonna be right here. Oh, not good that I'm changing so many colors. But I just want you to, I'm very visual, so I like to use lots of colors. Okay, so that's where my new picture is going to be. Again, this is now going to be my x-axis. So basically, if I'm going to graph those points and it's 180 degrees, this is now my x, negative x, positive y, and negative y. Okay, once we start doing the graph, hopefully that's going to be a little better. Okay, now what if I wanna move it 270 degrees? 270 degrees. That's 90 degrees. That's 180. And that's 270 degrees. So my new X, notice how this has been X all along, right? The floor for my flower has been X, positive X. So now this becomes positive X. So so this is positive X. Yeah, why was I gonna highlight that? And so my flower or new figure is not gonna be in here, but when it's rotated 270 degrees, it's now right there. Okay, so basically the important part is that you understand not where the flower ends, because that's, as you can see, this figure is not on this axis in this quadrant, on quadrant 1, but rather it's that this is the floor for that figure. So this is your X. Originally, basically in any coordinate plane, that's your X, positive X. So 90 degrees, this becomes your X. In 180 degrees, this becomes your X. And in 270 degrees, this becomes your positive X. Okay? So, what does she mean? Okay, so we're going to rotate this figure by 90 degrees. 90 degrees, that means that this is not X any longer, but this is going to be X. Forget about the figure, now look or concentrate on the points. And I'm gonna use a new color. I'm gonna use blue now to see my reflected figure, my rotated. It's going to be in blue. So it's gonna be -1, 1. So you don't change anything about the original coordinates. It's just you're changing the labels for the axis. So -1, 1, -1, 1, -4, 1, -4, 1, 2, 5, 2, -5, sorry, 2, -5, so 2 on X, -5 on Y, and then 2, -2, 2 on X, remember that is not Y anymore, 2 on X, -2 on Y. So that's the new figure, and it has been rotated 90 degrees. Okay, let's see how good I can sketch this, more or less. So now I bring it back, and there it is. That's my figure, and it has been rotated by 90 degrees. Again, remember that if we were to trace this, it means that it moved. Let me trace the original figure and the axis. So the original figure was this one right here in black. And 90 degrees counterclockwise, it just means 90 degrees, 90 degrees, it's right there. See? It matches. Every point moved by 90 degrees. You can see even the corner in here. Okay? And then this point becomes this one. This point becomes that one. So every point moved only one quadrant. See? One quadrant, and these 2 points, one quadrant. Just like this flower did, from one quadrant to the next one. Okay? So hopefully with that, you got a little bit easier. Hopefully it's not as complicated. And let's do the next one. So this one says rotate the following figure about the given point by 180 degrees. Again, the first thing that you want to do is to draw your axis. And going back to the picture of the flower, 180 degrees means that now this is your x-axis. Okay, again, you want to come up with the point. So this is -1, 1, -1, 1, -4, 1, -4, 1, and then this is 2, -2, +1, +2, -1, -2. So 2, -2, and the last one 2, -5. Somebody asked me, teacher, how do you know which one to graph first one? In reality, you can graph any of the points as long as you graph all of them. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so again, this is gonna be my X. That means I'm gonna turn my page so that this becomes, again, look, this was my initial floor for 0 degrees. Now this is gonna be my floor for 180. So that means that that's my X, positive X. Okay, so now I can just use these points and graph as if this is my X. So -1, 1, -1, 1, -4, 1, -4, 1, 2, -2, 2, -2, 2, you know what? I forgot the negative in here. It's -5. So 2, -5. And now I have my points. Okay, so that's my rotated figure by 180 degrees. Again, this is my original. This is my original. And if I draw that original figure, and I rotate it, let me draw the axis so that I can rotate 180 degrees. It means halfway around. Okay, so let me move this out of the way. It means that I'm gonna turn it around. This one is gonna go all the way over here. Okay, so this floor became this floor. And so, whoops, that's my new figure. Okay, right there. The rotated figure by 180 degrees. Okay, now try rotating the following figure about the given point by 270 degrees. Again, I go back to my chart, 270 degrees. This was the floor. Now the floor is going to be this. So basically that's going to be my positive X. Okay, right here. So this part right here is going to be X. Positive X. Okay, so again, I already have, it's the same points because we're using the same figure. It's just now I'm going to graph them as if I'm thinking that this is my x-axis. And so for the new figure, I'm going to do it in blue. I have negative 4, 1. So negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Positive 1 right there. Okay, this point becomes this point. And then negative 1, 1. So negative 1, positive 1. The other point is 2, negative 2. So positive 2, negative 2 right here. And that point, 2, negative 5 is positive 2, negative 5. And so now I graph my figure. So let's do it with the transparency to see if it matches. So this is my original figure. My original figure is, I have my axis, right? And the black one is my original figure. So I'm gonna move it 3 times 90 degrees. Okay, so let's see. That's once. Remember? That's twice. And finally, that's, whoops, my pencils are on the way. That's 3 times. Okay, so that's a rotation of 270 degrees. Okay, with the original and now the overlapping. So hopefully this didn't get too confusing. It seems that the other way that I was explaining it with the L's in the class didn't help many students, so that's why I came up with the flowers, because it helped 2 other students. But if you're interested in learning with the L, you're welcome to come see me, and hopefully this video help you to learn about rotation. So now you can complete the rest of 9.3.